Hello and welcome to this crochet lace tutorial. Today we'll be working on square 3, which is this lovely square here, which is worked in 4 colours and features these fine chain loops that work in contrast to the more bold navy and mint sections to the square. We'll be developing our skills that we learned in squares 1 and 2 and working on our special stitch for this square, which is the treble 3 cluster. We'll be using that to create these lovely petal shapes in the corners and the central motif. So I really hope you'll enjoy this tutorial, and I hope you'll enjoy making the square with me today. Shall we see what we'll need? What will we need for square number 3? We're going to be using 4 colours of yarn today. Our mint, red, navy and white cotton yarns. We're going to need our 1.75mm crochet hook, pair of scissors and a sewing needle for dealing with those ends, and just a tape measure to make sure we're making the right size. We're going to start round 1 with a magic ring. So using your red yarn, wrap it around 2 fingers to form a cross and just hold it in place with your thumb and ring finger like that. Then turn your hand over. Take your crochet hook and go under the first loop of yarn and pick up the second, bring it back and give it a little twist, then slip stitch with the yarn furthest from the hook. You can then take the magic loop off your fingers and it's ready to start working our stitches in just like that. So first we're going to chain 1. We're then going to work 16 double crochet into the magic ring. Work a slip stitch into the first double crochet to close the round, and then we can pull our magic ring tight. And that is round 1. Round 2, and we're going to start with the treble 3 cluster. So we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to work 2 trebles into the first stitch, but only work half of each treble stitch. So you have 3 loops on the hook, go round and through all 3 stitches. We're then going to chain 3. We're then going to skip the next stitch and work our next treble 3 cluster into the stitch after that. This one we don't need to chain 2 to start because we're already at the correct height, so we're just going to work 3 trebles into the stitch, but just the first half of each treble, leaving the second half on the hook. This time you'll have 4 loops on your hook, round and through all 4 loops, and chain 3. And that is our repeat for this round, and we're going to be doing it 7 times. So chain 3, miss the next double crochet, and treble 3 cluster in the next stitch. So if you'd like to repeat that another 7 times, I'll show you what it looks like when we've done that and how we close off the round. That is 7 repeats there. To close the round, all we're going to do is chain 3. I'm going to work a slip stitch in the top of this cluster just here. And then we can trim off our red yarn, leaving a 10cm tail, and our next round will be worked in navy. Round 3, and we're going to be working with navy, and we're going to join it to our first chain space and work 1 chain. We're then going to be working 1 double crochet, 2 chain, 3 treble, 2 chain, 1 double crochet, all in the same 3 chain space. So that's 1 double crochet, 2 chain, 3 treble crochet, 2 chain, and 1 more double crochet. That's all in the same chain space there. And we're going to chain 1. And we're going to repeat that 7 times. So I'll show you once more. 1 double crochet, 2 chain, 3 treble, 2 chain, 1 double crochet, all in the same chain space, then chain 1 to take us to the next chain space. And you're going to be repeating that in every chain space around, and I'll show you what it looks like when we get to the end of the round and how we close off the round. I've worked that repeat a total of 8 times now, and to finish, I've just got to do the final chain 1, and then I'm going to slip stitch into our first double crochet here. But we need to change colour on this slip stitch. Have your white yarn ready to pick up, go into the stitch, pick up the white yarn and bring it back through the stitch. Just make that end a bit longer. We can then trim off our navy yarn. Round 4, and we're going to be starting with chain 10. We're then going to be working 1 treble in the chain space between the petals from the last round. And then we're going to chain 7. And that is our repeat for this round, and we're going to repeat it another 5 times. So you will be working a treble in each of the chain spaces between the petals and 5 chain over the top of the petals. And I'll show you what that looks like when we've worked that and how we join the round. I've just completed the treble of the last repeat, and our final chain we're going to work slightly differently. We're going to chain 4. And we're going to work a treble stitch in the 3rd chain from our starting chain. And that leaves us in the centre of a loop ready to start the next round. Round 5, and we're going to start with chain 1. We're then going to double crochet into that last treble that we just worked at the end of round 4 and chain 7. And then we're going to double crochet in the next chain space. We're going to chain 9. And then we're going to work a double crochet in the same chain space. And then we're going to chain 7. And work 1 double crochet in the next chain space. So that is our repeat for this round. We're going to be working chain 9 and double crochet in the same chain space, and chain 7 and double crochet in the next chain space. And we're going to be working that 6 more times, and I'll show you what it looks like when we get there and how we finish off round 5. I've just finished my repeats with the last double crochet, and now we're going to chain 5. And now to close the round, we're going to be working a double treble into our first double crochet stitch just here, but we are going to be changing colour again, back to the navy. So go round the hook twice for a double treble and into the stitch. Work the first 2 parts of the treble in the white, then pick up the navy yarn to work the final part of the double treble and change to navy yarn, just like that. We can then trim off our white yarn and we're ready for round 6. Round 6, and we start with chain 3. We then work 5 trebles in this chain space that we've just made on round 5. That's 5 trebles there. Chain 5, and then work 1 treble, chain 7, and another treble, all in the next chain space. And chain 5. Double crochet in the next chain space. Then we're going to be working in the next 9 chain space, and we're going to be working 6 trebles, chain 3, 6 trebles, all in this 9 chain space. Six trebles, chain 3, and a further 6 trebles. Then double crochet in the next chain space. And that is our repeat for this round. It's a little bit more involved than the ones we've had on the previous rounds. So what we're going to be doing is we're working chain 5, then we work 1 treble, chain 7, 1 treble, all in the next chain space. We then chain 5 and double crochet in the next chain space. And then we work 6 treble, 3 chain, 6 treble in the next chain space. Finally, we work 1 double crochet in the next chain space to end the repeat. And we're going to work that repeat 3 more times. And I'll show you what it looks like when we get to the end of that repeat and how we finish off round 6. So I've just worked that repeat another 2 times, and I'm on my 3rd repeat, and I'm at the part where we're going to work 6 trebles, 3 chains, 6 trebles in the next space, but we've already worked half of that. That's where we started the round. So what we're going to do is we're going to work the 6 trebles, and then instead of working a chain 3, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to join it to the top of that chain there with a half treble. So that means we're starting the next round in the centre of that chain loop, just there. Round 7, and we're going to start with chain 3. And that counts as our first treble stitch. We're then going to work 1 treble into the space that we created on round 6, and then 1 treble into the same chain that we joined the round. So we're starting with 3 trebles there. We're then going to work 1 treble in the next 5 stitches. We're going to double crochet in the next chain space. Then in the next chain space, we're going to chain 5 to get us there. We're then going to be working a treble 3 cluster into this chain space here. So work 1 treble, but only work the first part and leave the second part on the hook. Work the second treble the same way, and a third. You'll have 4 loops on your hook. Go round and take the yarn through all 4 loops. And that is your treble 3 cluster. We're then going to chain 5. And we're going to work another treble 3 cluster. and chain 5. And we're going to repeat that until we have 6 treble 3 clusters with chain 5 between them, all in the same chain space. You can move the stitches around if you need more room. That is 6 treble 3 clusters all in that space with chain 5 between them. I'm going to do another chain 5. And we're going to work a double crochet in the next chain space. We're then going to be working over these trebles here, and we're going to be working 1 treble in each treble. So that's 6 trebles there. We're going to work 2 trebles, chain 3, and another 2 trebles in the chain space in the center of these trebles. And then we're going to treble in every treble stitch down the other side, so another 6 trebles. We then double crochet to the next chain space. So that is our repeat for round 7, and it is a bit more of a complicated one. We're going to be working chain 5, then treble 3 cluster, chain 5 6 times in the next chain space. Double crochet in the next chain space. Then we're going to be working 6 trebles in the next 6 treble stitches. 2 treble, chain 3, 2 treble in the next chain space. And finally 6 more trebles in our last 6 trebles of this petal here, and a double crochet in the next chain space. And that is the repeat. If you want to repeat it another 2 times, I'll meet you towards the end of the last repeat and show you how we finish off. I'm on the final repeat of round 7, and I've just worked the 6 treble 3 clusters, chain 5 in the chain space just there. Done my final chain 3, and I'm going to double crochet in the next chain space. So all that's left to do is to finish this side of the treble petal, and we're going to work 6 trebles up the side, 1 in each stitch as usual. We're then going to work 2 treble in the chain space at the top here. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to join the round with a half treble, but we're going to be changing back to white yarn. So if we get that ready. So we're going to work a half treble in the top of this 3 chain, but instead of bringing back our navy yarn, pop our white yarn over and bring it back through. So now we can trim off our navy yarn, and we're ready to start round 8. Round 8, and we're going to start with chain 1, and then we're just going to double crochet in that last stitch from round 7. We're going to chain 5, and we're going to work a treble stitch in the next 5 chain space. And we're going to do that 3 times. So that's 1, So that's 3 times. We're then going to work another chain 5. And then we're going to work 1 treble, chain 5, 1 treble, all in the same space. This is our corner space. We're then going to chain 5, 1 treble in the next space, another 3 times. So that takes us around our first group of clusters. We're then going to chain 5 again. And we're going to work a double crochet in this chain space at the top of the trebles just here. And that is our repeat for this round. So it is a bit simpler than the last one. We're just going to be working chain 5, treble in the next 5 chain space 3 times. Then we're going to chain 5 and work treble, chain 5, 1 treble in the next chain space, and that becomes our corner space. Chain 5, treble in the next space another 3 times. Chain 5, and then double crochet in the 3 chain space at the top of the trebles. So if you want to repeat that 3 more times, and I'll meet you back when we've done that and show you how to finish off the round. I've just finished the corner space of the last repeat, so we're going to carry on doing that chain 5 and treble in the next chain space. 3 more times. Chain 5, and we're going to finish with a slip stitch into this first double crochet, but we're going to be changing colour. So go into the stitch, but pick up the mint yarn and work the slip stitch with the mint yarn. There we go, and we're ready with the mint for the next round, and we can cut off our white yarn. Round 9, and we're going to start with chain 3. We're then going to work 3 trebles in the next chain space. You can work over your ends as you work these trebles, and it'll just save some time sewing in ends later. We're then going to chain 1, and we're going to work 4 trebles in the next chain space. Chain 1, and another 4 trebles in the next chain space. Chain 1, 4 trebles in the next chain space. Chain 1, and then in the corner space we're going to be working 4 trebles. Chain 3, and 4 more trebles. And chain 1. And that is our pattern repeat for this round. So it's a very simple round, this one. We're going to be working 4 trebles in every chain space and 1 chain between each group of 4 trebles. It's very similar to working a granny square. In the corner, we're going to be working 4 trebles, chain 3, 4 trebles, all in the same corner chain space. So if you want to carry on working that all the way around, I'll meet you back after the final corner and show you how we finish off the round. I've just worked the last corner space just there. I'm going to chain 1, And I'm just going to do 4 treble, chain 1 in the next 4 spaces. So it's just the same as what we've been doing all the way around the outside. Then to join the round, we're going to work a slip stitch into the 3rd chain of our starting chain just here, but we are going to be changing colour again. So we're going to be changing to our white yarn, so we'll have that ready and go into the stitch and pick up the white yarn rather than the green and make a slip stitch with that yarn. Then we can trim off our green and we're ready for round 10 with our white yarn. Round 10, and we're going to start with chain 1. Then we're going to work our first double crochet in the top of that chain 3 from the last round. We're then going to work 1 double crochet in every stitch and 1 double crochet in every chain space as we go around our border round. Just 1 double crochet in every stitch and 1 in every chain space until we get to a corner. In the corner, we're going to be working 2 double crochet, 1 chain, and another 2 double crochet, all in the same chain space. And that is our repeat for the border. So if you want to carry on repeating that all the way around, just remember to work 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet in the corner spaces, and 1 double crochet in every stitch, and 1 double crochet in every chain space. When you get to the end of the round, just work 1 final slip stitch to join the round, and that is our square complete. So here we have our finished square. It is such a pretty one, this one. We have these bold geometric shapes, which are separated with the delicate white chains, and then the lovely mint sort of granny square type border. So I've already gone ahead and woven in my ends and given this square a press, and the only thing left to do now is just to pop a little label on with number 3 and store it away with our first 2 squares till it comes to joining our throw together. So I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial today and you've enjoyed making your square, and I hope you'll join me for the next one. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.